Hello everyone, this is The Heart of the Wyrdwood by R.J. Barker. It is a third book in the Forsaken trilogy. What's it called? The Forsaken something or other trilogy. I don't want to mess it up. The Forsaken trilogy. Okay, I got it right. There's the other two books there. And the third book has disappointed, really. But I can't call it a bad book. So what Barker does here is, I want to call it bold, but the problem was it didn't measure up. So our lead guy, Kahan, there he is. This god came up out of the ground. It climbed to the highest tower. It's this, tentacled thing. And it scooped up Kahan and it's just holding him there, suspended above the city in some kind of suspended animation. And for the most part, that's where his story ends. Not entirely. It's just that this book, what I noticed in the first book, is mostly Kahan. And you get introduced to a bunch of support characters. And in the second book, all of a sudden, we start spending quite a bit more time around those support characters. Well, in the third book, it's all support characters. I will say they actually have interesting story arcs. There's this lady, Sorha, who she was an enemy of Kahan's, and he in an earlier fight ripped the magic right out of her, and she's been trying to kill him ever since, until they found themselves in a situation where they had to rely upon each other, and through their time together she started to turn, and she did, and she became a hero, one willing to sacrifice herself for others. That's a good story arc. We have our villain, and she wants to basically help raise this god out of the ground, to burn the world. Just burn it all to cinders. Everything's gone. And she goes off to heaven with her god. I don't know if you can hear all this banging going on here. I got painters around the building. Anyway, we have this fellow Aunt. Earlier in the first book, he was a rather contrary individual, and he didn't trust Kahan at all. Then he has this arc where he becomes a monk, a bit of a preacher. He loses his sight and he leads people through the woods. Good story arc. We have Udini. Oh, Udini. She's someone I would like to have around. She was fun. She was talkative. She lost her life, and she was in the afterworld, doing battle with, she was like a godlike being herself, doing battle with epic post-life monsters. And then she is thrown back into this old man's body in this book and has to deal with that. And it's good. It's interesting. The problem is there's just too many of these, too much time spent on the support characters. Fleshed out, basically interesting, but as I'm reading along, I'm like, okay, I get it. We're here. Quick, we got to get over there. We get over there, and I think about stuff, and we got to get over here. And I think about stuff, and it just, it's not much of a, is it not much of a plot, I guess? They're interesting to read about, and Barker's a really good writer. So the book doesn't suck, per se. It's just, I'm reading along, or a little bit of Khan and his situation, and then lots of pages go by, a little bit of Kahan. And then at the end, some Kahan. I think one of the biggest disappointments, a little bit of a spoiler, the main villain, she has his sister imprisoned. She was powerful. She put herself in that prison. She got manipulated into doing so. And she had this feeling that she was supposed to protect Kahan, and she failed. And she treated the villain like crap in their earlier times together. And this villain just loves having her there in this prison, informing her how much time just isn't left anymore, and basically psychologically torturing her. And it's good, and you think, okay, there's going to be this great thing between siblings that were kind of supposed to be on the same side and then kind of rivaled, and then have this moment, and we don't really have it. Oh well, just kind of there. So this one doesn't measure up. I don't do ratings, but like if these, whatever ratings the other two books were, this would at least be a 1.5 stars or 2 stars down. it's actually a pretty satisfying ending. It's just the journey to get there. This was 560 pages exactly. 560. Didn't need to be 560. It's a bold move to say, I fleshed these characters out. So I'm going to take the lead guy, your main character, shove them completely to the side and have them be the main characters. But it's just too much time spent with them. This would be like if I made a trilogy of movies starring Superman. And first one we get Superman. Second one we get Superman and all his support characters. And then you just say, well, this is the big bang for my Superman trilogy, but he's only going to be in it. Matter of fact, it's what, maybe this much of this whole book. It's just not in there. You can get away with that in a comic book. Okay. You got a monthly title, you can do things like that. But not in just a trilogy of books that just doesn't quite work, but it doesn't quite bail. It's just kind of mid and it's there. So, but I'm glad I got it done. I'm glad I finished it. I think it was worth it in the end, but not quite as good a book for the third one. So now I'm on to the third Dungeon Crawler Carl book, The Dungeon Anarchist's Cookbook by Matt Dinneman right there. Earth has been transformed into the set of the galaxy's most watched game show, Dungeon Crawler World, a nightmarish multi-level video game like Dungeon filled with traps, monsters, and brain-melting puzzles. Carl and Donut have survived so far, but this fourth level is unlike anything they could imagine. The Iron Tangle, an impossibly complicated subway system tied together in a knot of trains of all kinds, from classic steam engines to sleek modern cars. Up is down, down is up, close is far. The cars are filled with monsters. The railway stations aren't always what they seem, and the exit is perpetually just a few stops away. The top 10 list is populated, and Carl and Donut have made it. But the popularity comes with a price. They each now have a bounty on their head. They must work with other crawlers to solve the puzzle of the floor. But how can they do that when they don't know whom to trust? That's a good situation. The secret to unraveling it may be hidden in the pages of a seemingly useless book. There we go. That is next. So the plan was I was going to read, nothing but Dungeon Crawler Carl. But something wonderful has happened. So last year, I had an epic 2024 reading year. Great books, some failures, but mostly it was one of the best reading years of my life. This was the number one paper, right? Seasons of Babylon by Elan Marsh and Christopher Warman. It has a sequel that measures up, A Contract in Soul Form. This is 4 short stories that overlap. This is an indirect sequel. It takes place in the same world as a full-length novel and has its own list of characters. And so, time passing, I'm wondering, well, let me check on a third book. Let me see what's going on. Is there, how long is that going to take? Not only is there a third book out, I got it. So this is A Rescue in Bison, the 8th Chance series. In my hand, I like the cover. I think I like the first cover best, but I'm not going to talk about that just yet. So after I read Dungeon Crawler Carl, the third book, then this comes next. So that will come after that, and then back on the Dungeon Crawler Carl. My plan is so far to read all of them. I just hope I don't have this problem somewhere in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. That's it. Got done a little early. I usually do these on Mondays. This is coming out Saturday, but hey, I had the holiday off and I did a whole lot of extra reading, so I'm a little ahead of the game now. So see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.